Hello and welcome to Audionautic Deep Space Network, episode 63. This is our weekly music production, technology, and marketing podcast. And today we're talking Superbooth, some of our favorite gear announcements from Superbooth. We'll also take a look at a recent iOS synth and a very affordable portable synth, which you know we're all about at the moment. Finally, in our marketing minute, we'll discuss 3, as Curtis says, tangible tips for how to make time in the studio also work as social media content. It's something both Curtis and I have been experimenting with a lot lately to pretty good success, right? Wouldn't you say, Curtis?
Oh, very much so, yeah. I'd say so. It's been a fun exploration at the very least.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks to everyone who is joining us live. Let us know in the chat what you've been up to this week. If any gear from Superbooth has piqued your interest. Always interesting to see what different things we are attracted to, shall we say. Like the 2 things Curtis and I have are very different, both from each other, I think, but also just actually they're kind of similar in a weird yin and yang synthetic kind, like opposite ends of it. But anyways, yeah, we appreciate you joining us live, and also welcome to all of the listeners over on all the podcast apps. We keep seeing a rise in listeners. We really appreciate you checking us out and staying to listen. If you really dig what you're hearing, leave a rating or review. It helps a ton. But anyways, my name is Sunwarper. With me today is Curtis. What's going on, man?
There, you phrased that a little bit. I'm good.
You froze for me. Hopefully it's on your end.
Hopefully, we'll see. So we'll see. But no, I'm doing good. Yeah.
I'm gonna focus on you real quick. I'm gonna check I'm connected via Ethernet. So give me 1 sec. Just carry on. I'm listening.
No, it's been good. I've been back at, obviously over the last couple of weeks, I've been building a lot of loops and then kind of like filing those projects away. And so I've come back to the first time really since the end of Maroon to come back to do kind of some mixing and kind of like start to build on the sound design and the stuff that I've already bit. That's nice. It's kind of like that's the bit I really enjoyed. So we are we're on that one. That's where we are right now.
Yeah, I had to turn on the banner real quick. We were remiss in not having that up.
We have to get into that routine. I mean, it's still a delineation. How about you, brother? How have you been?
I've been good, man. I got a lot going on at the moment. I spent all day yesterday testing out this new production setup because I had to record a bunch of guitar, and I also had to watch the dog, and he doesn't like being in the shed much. It's probably all the bleeps and bloops that bother him. But so, you know, I got the new MacBook. It's USB-C, right? So I wanted to experiment because the SP404 has USB-C, and you can transfer audio to it. But I was like, could I power the 404 from the USB using the laptop and also transmit audio? And the answer is yes.
Oh, yeah.
So I was able to use the SP as an audio interface, put my guitar in through it. It also worked as an effects box where I could have amp sim if I wanted to, and a bunch of other reverbs, delays, cassette sim, all that stuff, and just send the audio over USB into the computer and record into Logic.
That's awesome.
Just one cable. I mean, I had to have a cable from the guitar to the SP, but yeah, so the SP is like an effects box and audio interface and powered by just that one USB cable.
And I suppose you're DIing everything, really, aren't you? You're nothing's through microphones or anything like that. So it just
not
works.
For that, not for the guitar. No, yeah, it's just guitar, one cable into the SP, one USB cable, no power cable into the computer. Now, I don't know. The one thing I don't know, sorry to cut you off, is whether I can have the laptop not connected to power and still power the SP, or if it has to have a connection to power. Because that'll be the ultimate portable test.
That would be. It'd be interesting to see how quickly it also drains the battery from the laptop. But
true, if it even works, yeah.
If it even works. But the point, I suppose, what I really want to make here, I mean, you've had the SP404 now for what, 2 years? Getting it for 2 years?
I think only 1 year, actually.
Only 1 year.
Yeah, maybe 1.5, something like that.
Oh, you're still discovering things that you love.
I know. Yeah, I made a video a while ago about using a power bank to power the SP. But I was always hampered by the fact that takes up that USB audio slot, and you'd have to send in stuff separately. So this way, the way that it works, it's really nice that you can just have it all connected with one cable.
There you go. I mean, I'd be curious to see where that goes when you take that out.
Oh, I think, did I lose you again? Okay, I got you froze for a sec. We're having some internet issues, it seems, today. But that's all right.
It's the beauty of going out live.
Yeah, that's what happens. We got some people in the chat. Abby is saying that he's going to watch it. So they're watching in silence until my team meeting is over. That's all good. No worries. We appreciate it. We also have Bendu saying hello, all. Welcome, Bendu. How's it going? And J-Bell says Curtis is missing a keyboard. And Survey Channel's in the chat. He says, Greets, what's up? How's it going?
It's nice to see you, man. Shady Ridge has just popped in.
Oh, yeah.
It's nice to see you.
Welcome, Shady. Good to have you. How's it going?
We're here. We're talking about Superbooth. We have internet problems. Everything's going awesome. So yeah, that's always what you need. Yeah, I'm with Abby on this one. You don't need to sit on a team meeting ever. You just need to keep it muted and do something that's much more enticing.
Well, that was like Hydro Fighter last week was saying he had one headphone on for our podcast and one headphone or the speaker for the meeting he was in. So, that's another option, Abby, you could try.
Yeah, totally. But it's lovely to see everyone here today. Welcome. Thank you ever so much for joining us. Wonderful that we got the familiar faces and a few new ones coming through. Let us know what you've been up to. I've been producing. Somewhat has been finding out more about his SP404 baby. Yeah, we'd love to know what you've been up to. We got a hell of a show coming through. We have a show full of alliteration.
As we like to do.
Yeah, that's very much so, as we like to do. So should we saunter into it?
Yeah, just really quick. Shady says he's doing well. Just wanted to put that up there. It's always good to hear. Bendy says he's going okay. It's going okay. He's currently away from home, joining you from my in-laws' place in the Midwest. Oh, very cool. Hopefully you're having some fun. How's the Midwest treating you? But yeah, what do we have for news?
What do we have to do? Well, we're going to start with some highlights from our. We're going to start from some highlights from Superbooth. Obviously, Superbooth was in Berlin over the weekend, seeing lots of photos from the likes of Atlas Castle and from 59 Perlin, who were there. I believe I know 59 Perlin was there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. I'd love to go. And so we found a couple of weird gear, so to speak, things that we really like from it ourselves. And we've called this one in the name of having the alliteration. Yes, thank you. Beat me to the punch, sir.
Oh,
yes.
Sorry. I didn't know if you were on it with it. Okay, I'll stop. That's my bad. I know when you take over the camera changes, it throws us off. So I apologize.
It's fine. No worries at all. Again, we are live. Chaos ensues. Entropy will kill us all, and we're having fun with synthesizers. Welcome to Audionautic.
Let's just go with the fun with synthesizers. We'll worry about entropy later.
So yeah, this is our first piece of alliteration for the evening, our Superbooth Snapshots. And I'm bringing my one to the table first because it's the one that I've got here, and it is called the Steam Pipe. So it's a Superbooth
Snapshot Steam Pipe. Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. This is what we need. So the Steam Pipe is from Erica Synth, and it looks lush. If I share my screen, I'm without a mouse this week as well because my mouse has decided to die just pretty much as soon as we went live.
That's rough. So, well, while you do that, let me cover a couple of the chats we got. David is in the chat. He says, "Hey everyone, what's going on, David?" I'm gonna share your other one, but I didn't want to spoil it, but we will be talking about this synth later on because I love SH101s, but he says, I have only one Insta purchase, the Roland S1. Yeah, we will talk about that in a little bit after Superbooth Snapshots. And then Survey Channel also says, next Tuesday, first ever truly live Survey Channel show. Can't think of anything else until that's over and done with. I know what that's like. Don't worry, though. You're going to do great. It's going to be awesome. What type of setup are you using? I think you had posted it in the Discord. Might have been the Patron Twitter, but let us know the setup you're doing. Hopefully you got that 404 in there. That's my hope. That's my hope. But anyways, let's look at it's the Steam Pipe you said, correct?
Yeah, so this is the Steam Pipe from Erica Synth. So if I can add this, I got it. You're on this one. So yeah, this is the Steam Pipe from Erica Synth. Right. The reason that I think this is so amazing is that it is a synthesizer that doesn't have any oscillators, which is insane if you think about it. It doesn't have any oscillators, but it emulates the sound of a wind instrument, such as akin to a pipe or a clarinet or a flute or something along those lines. Now, these, I know, right? So these have always been, we've been able to digitally emulate woodwind sounds through MIDI. There's a wonderful set of libraries out in the world, both expensive and cheap, that can do it to various degrees. You can get somewhere close on some form of synthesizer or something like that through a bit of sound design. But I just wanted to bring this to the table because this is weird and gimmicky. And I found a little, this is directly from Superbooth itself, found a little sound demo, and then we'll go into the details of the specs itself. So
just real quick, do you want to also shut off the overlay? I don't know if it's a bit cluttered.
There we go.
There we go.
Minimalism is the way forward. So,
yeah.
So here we go. This is a little sound design. It's only a couple of seconds, but
it can create very nice sounding, like organic sounds of real instruments. See this noise which is present when you blow it. Can add more noise. Can get rid of the noise.
That's cool.
That is cool, isn't it? So I'll leave that there for now before we go into it. But that, again, I reiterate, no oscillators going through that at all. No oscillators going through it at all. Just a pipe or a mouth, and it emulates the wind going through a voice box or something like that. And if you go back to that video later on, there's a lady standing up there and she's playing along with it, and it's lovely and it's lush, and it goes as far as 8 voices as well, which is really nice.
Looks like David is with you. He says Steampipe is a wild physical modeling beast. Wild concept. Yeah, it sure seems like it. That's crazy.
Yeah. It's new, it's different, in this world of like paving new ways, right? We always think about like AI and we think about how that's going to change the world, and we talked about that quite a lot on this show. But the notion of creating organic tones just through synthesis is the dream. It's the fusion of the analog and the digital, and to me that is awesome. Absolutely.
Well, I think a couple of episodes ago, it might have even been Eon Lake, but it could have even been one of us. We were talking about how so many synths are just all recreations or replicas of like classic things, or just still doing the whole, couple of oscillators and this filter and that. And somebody was wondering where the ingenuity was and all that. And there it is. I mean, that's it right there. Trying something new like that, right?
Oh, completely and utterly. I've been experimenting with having like the basis of synthesis down here. Your drums and your pads and your arpeggiators and bass, etc. And then over here on a MIDI keyboard, which is off screen right now, having some form of having some sort of wind instrument, so to speak, which could be, again, I like that kind of trippy Eastern vibes. So like that'd be a good way to go.
Yeah.
We don't know when it's coming out yet. They say by the end of the year. Currently no price, but that is my takeaway from Superbooth. I think it's pretty damn cool.
I mean, that looks awesome.
Completely and utterly. The question is, how much it will cost, but we'll have to find out.
Oh, there's no cost at all.
Oh, what? As in
they haven't set a cost. I mean, I know there will be a cost. There is a cost.
No, imagine open source. Keep it out for everyone.
Just have this box. No, but I mean, there's no cost estimate yet that they've released or anything. It's more just like, here it is. Here's a prototype or something. Yeah, exactly.
At this stage, but the guy playing it seems happy. Everyone in the booth seems happy. David seems happy. So, what more do you want?
As long as David's happy, I'm happy. That's what I got. Yeah,
exactly. What is your Superbooth snapshot?
Well, this is what I was saying. It's funny that you chose physical modeling, right? And then I chose this very strange, very interesting bit from Korg. I think it's Korg Berlin is the one doing it, and it's I gotta get the name, but where is the name? Yeah, Prototype Acoustic Synthesizer. So what the hell is that, right? Acoustic synthesizer, like those two words just don't seem to go together. It's very weird. So from what I was understanding of it, and we can link this full video. There's a couple of really good videos. This Sound on Sound one has a really good description from someone from Korg describing all the different ways it works. But it's these little like metal forks or something, metal bits that it hammers or hits and resonates, and then that sound is through a feedback synthesis loop or something like that. And so it merges these acoustic sounds with the synthesizer or synthesis of like all this type of stuff. So let's just play a quick bit. I'm probably not describing it well. So if you're watching and saying, what the heck is he talking about? Or this isn't what it is. Just watch the video. We'll put a link to it. I just got excited seeing this merging of acoustic and synthesis.
Okay, I'll play it here. They also got a Zone 96 in the back, which is interesting. He looks really happy about that.
Yeah. And he's like, so what he's doing is
things like,
let me stop that. He's physically manipulating the actual acoustic part and then changing things with the synthesizer part. So I know it's not exactly a sound demo of, oh, this is some really lush performance or something, but it's showing the potential of this idea. And that's more why I wanted to bring this to the table, this very interesting potential of merging acoustic and synthesis together in these smaller boxes or something. It's just a prototype. It's just really interesting. If you could put a link in the chat, Curtis.
Yeah, I'll do that now. I'll put that in the chat that people can see. There are so many tabs open this week.
That's all right. That's right. While you do that, we got a little bit of info from Survey Channel. So he's saying no 404 in there this time. Unfortunately, that hurts, but I understand. He says I had to make a judgment call. That was to forego implementing that in favor of having more time to rehearse and feel comfortable. Totally get that. So his setup is actually a DeepMind Novation Launch Control XL for MIDI and live mixing, and an analog mixer for overall mix. That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, very cool.
Nice.
So Bendu asked if he's going to record it or document it, and Survey Channel says would love to. Oh wait, would love it if you could join. Are you going to have it online or something? Survey Channel. He says I'm going to see if it can be recorded. Friends would be though. Hopefully some general video and photos at least for sure. Yeah, definitely. That'd be awesome. He says, so then Bendu says, so instead of simulating a vibrating fork as an oscillator, they're using real forks pretty much. Yeah. And they actually have these little booklets in that video where they go through showing what happens where you hit the fork and it resonates and then it goes through into the synthesis part and all that. It's really cool. And Audionautic, also known at the moment as Curtis, posted the YouTube link. So check it out. And we'll put all of these video descriptions or video links in the show notes on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So if you're listening back and want to see what these things look like, they'll be in there for you.
Yeah. It's interesting because, again, we quite a bit of the time we talk about changing up our workflow, and we talk about changing up how the process by which we create something in order to create something new. And these two synthesizers, from what I can see, are a great way of doing that, because they change the very core of what we do when we synthesize. By default, you're going to come out with something completely ridiculous and weird and wonderful.
But that's the beauty of it, right? And then you can sample it, and then you're really talking, right?
Well, what would you sample it into? That's the question.
If only something had sampling functionality added to it.
If only. So I wonder if there was any form of, I don't know, firmware update or anything that came out recently. Which
I don't know. Maybe you should look on the overlays and see if you've got anything. Maybe StreamYard just put one in for us, you know?
Maybe.
Or maybe late last night you made one and put it in.
Yeah, we'll move on to...
Oh, that's not it. You're revealing all the secrets of today's episode, man. Come on.
Okay. It's not here, but we'll see it. But we have got this was actually sent in by Abby, one of our patrons, who, if you are keen to show us any news or anything, you can hit us up in the Discord to see. But there was a firmware update by Microfreak, or Arturo for the Microfreak during the week. We neither of us have a Microfreak or anything like that, and so we're not the biggest experts. So this is more of a PSA. Eon Lake has one, but sadly he couldn't be with us today. But during the firmware update for the Microfreak itself, you could now put your own sounds in there and mangle them and sample them.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. So this caught Curtis's eye when we were taking a look at what Abby had sent us. And so, like Curtis said, we don't own them, but we don't own a Microfreak. But yeah, we just wanted to let anyone who does have a Microfreak know we're trying to see if Eon Lake, if he can come on next week, can either give us a little demo of it or at least give his take on it as an owner of one. But yeah, we just wanted to show something that caught our eye in this update. And then if you want to check out more, we'll put a link for where you can find out all the stuff added in the firmware.
Yeah, very much. I just wanted to add just a little piece of this so we can see what they're going on about. A very nice demonstration, very nicely thought out.
Significant update is that Microfreak's digital oscillator now comes with not 1, not 2, but 4 new sample and granular engines with the ability to load your own samples.
Cool.
This massively increases Microfreak's sonic flexibility, making it great for playing with any sampled sound, mangling audio, and exploring curious granular textures. The new engines added to the end of the engines list are called Sample, Scan Grains, Cloud Grains, and Hit Grains. Let's listen to how all these engines sound.
Ooh,
That
yeah,
sounds-
let's hear it. I just want to hear a pinch. Just one. Let's
First
just hear
up,
one.
the sample engine.
That's cool. All right, I think we're good there. But yeah, I mean, that's awesome. And Bendu is asking in the chat, I wonder if the Mini-Freak is going to get the same update. Yeah, I mean, you'd have to assume so, but I don't know. And then Svrjcek says, shoot, give me that. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Don't mess up with your live set. Don't get it before then. You don't want to add anything. Yeah, but I know it looks awesome. I would love to get a Microfreak or a Mini-Freak, but it doesn't seem to be in the cards at the moment, but hopefully one day.
Hopefully one day. I mean, I really like the look of the Mini-Freak when it came out. The Microfreak in a similar vein. The more I get exposed to Arturia, because like they've always been on one for me that's been on the periphery of my existence, and very slowly they've kind of been worming their way in more. And I think just how brilliant and amazing they are. We have to get them. But yeah, that was more of a public service announcement for that one.
Yeah, it looks sick.
Yeah,
It looks
very much
very
so.
cool. And I want to see what else they added. Again, we don't have them, so we didn't take a big look. We were hoping Eon Lake could give us a look at it, but hopefully next week. But yeah, I'm curious to see what else they've added in this firmware update. I really love that idea, though, of expanding things with firmware updates. The SP does it. A lot of samplers and things that can, even I think the Mini Lock got some updates or something. But I love the idea of you keep getting more in these boxes that you buy. And that's one of the cool things with like modern hardware, I suppose, is that it's like you can keep getting new aspects of it.
Yeah, it's not no more. Is it like a case of you buying a synthesizer and that's like the synthesizer you have now until the end of time? You can always there are things that change. I mean, that was one of the sticking points we said with hardware. You buy hardware and that is how the hardware is until it conks out and you buy a new piece of hardware. But now with things like this, there's different ways of doing it, and that's really exciting to me.
Yeah, and real quick before we shift gears, Maureen's friend has a new rule he wanted to share. He says, my new rule is have to sell something to get something, may have to look for something to sell. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really cool stuff that came out at Superbooth, and like David was saying earlier, the S1, if you like that SH101 sound, that Boards of Canada you sound, oh man.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, I'm having said that, hello, Maureen's friend. Welcome to the show. It's lovely to have you here. It's been busy. I've been playing a few gigs as well, unless I'm much mistaken. I'm looking at my Volkers in the corner over there, which are just slowly gathering dust. I'm thinking I could probably get enough for that, for something new. I'll have to see.
Yeah.
But yeah. That little PSA was brought to us by our patron Abby. Thank you ever so much for making us aware of that. If you like what we do, and if you are a fan of the show and you love what we do, we love having you here. We love talking to you. We love finding out what's going on.
Oh, I think I lost you.
You lost me again?
Yeah.
Hey, how about now?
I got you now, man.
I'm on Ethernet as well. This is really weird. So yeah, so if you like what we do and you want to support what we do, consider please becoming a patron. Pledges start as little as $2 per month, and we have a load of nice little extras that can be done as well. Someone will take you through them, but I want to show you what we could do here. They start as little as $2 a month, like you say. And we have our own live stream hangouts. We have the Audionautic Plus tier, which is quite a popular one, to be fair. And you get extra content, pre-recorded content that all comes through. It is lovely.
Yeah, you also get your name in the description of all of our videos, and that's for the 5 and up. Everybody gets in an exclusive Twitter chat and Discord channel. The Discord is open for everyone, but there's some exclusive stuff as well as additional hangouts. We're bringing back our radio show Binary Stars. That's going to be exclusive for patrons for the 5 tier and up. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, and then patrons, we've also got some really cool new updates coming with some things that are going to happen with ADSN that we want to get you all involved in before. So keep an eye on the Twitter and Discord feeds. I posted it already, but just the way those things go in terms of chat, I'm going to post it again tomorrow. So check that out if you're interested in what's soon to come and some interactivity there. But yeah, if you want to check it out, patreon.com/audionautic. As the text says, the link is in the description. We'd love to have you over there. We really appreciate all of our patrons. They help us do more of this and improve upon what we're doing. We have a lot of things we keep trying to add in, and our patrons allow us to do it. We were able to get this StreamYard Pro where we can have overlays, the cool star background. We can have a ton of other stuff. We can have our little Audionautic look. We can also have this banner really saying our ethos. We aim to try. So if you want to help support what we do, head to the Patreon. We'd love to have you over there. Of course, hanging out is more than enough, but yeah, it's there if you want to help us out.
It is very much so. We love having you here. Really appreciate your support and just hanging out. I think we say it a lot of weeks. The notion of finding our fellow people to talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
Because when we talk about these things for people who don't know this stuff, they get that glazy eyes look.
Yeah, if you mention putting 2 LFOs on an oscillator or something, they're just, what? Was that even English? And you're like, I'm not sure anymore. But when we talk to our patrons and things like that, when our patrons talk to us, we know what that means and we get excited about it, just like they are. So yeah, if you want to have a community like that, head over there.
Yeah, very much so. So yeah. Thank you ever so much indeed, and we'll crack on with the show. And we'll come back to it now. Big fan of iOS synths here. We've been exploring them. Sunwalker especially has been exploring them quite extensively, pretty much since the incarnation of ADSN. I feel that's what I feel. Yeah. And there's another one. This is called the Hilda.
Yes, if I need to spend more money, at least it's only a couple bucks instead of like $300, right?
Yeah, this one's only $13.
There we go.
I think we're all right. This is the Hilda, which is built on West Coast, East Coast synthesis. Lovely overall design here, where you can see the workflow of the synthesizer in its own right, and you can twist and turn your knobs as if they were real. So it's for your iPad or even for your iPhone, which I find quite interesting. 16-step MIDI sequencer, 12-mode filter based on the Oberheim expander, which I really like.
Nice.
Yeah. What really got me though was this DIY lo-fi delay circuit emulation.
Oh yeah,
that could be fun, just in case there wasn't enough lo-fi stuff in the world. But yeah, very much so. Now, if I just play this here, where are we? Just play this here.
That is pretty.
And the lights are not.
I'll do that before he starts talking. But the notion of us, a lot of people here who we play a lot of ambient stuff as well. The notion of having something which you can then manipulate and change so readily on the fly in such a little thing is a really nice way to do it.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the best parts I've been finding about iOS synths and stuff like that is sometimes, compared to, it's like a nice in-between between the DAW and having to use a mouse to, using a mouse to tweak things, and then having hardware where you can actually move things. You have this touch screen and you can move things around. Like, that's why I love pairing Koala Sampler with the SP, because when I can chop, I have that visual and I could chop things up and move things around and then throw it in the SP and do all the stuff with like actual movements and things like that. But yeah, I love using iOS apps for that matter. You get this small, you can take it anywhere, you can mess with it anywhere, and you can just tweak things endlessly and make really cool sounds. Like last week with the King of FM, that DX7 synth, you know, that sound design I was doing, just adding the reverb and things like that. You can just mess around. You can connect that by a MIDI to something. There's a ton you can do with stuff like that. I'm curious if anybody in the chat is looking into getting any iOS apps or have gotten any synth iOS apps or sampling iOS apps lately. But what do you think? You brought this to the table. What do you think?
In a similar vein, I think, like for me at the moment, what I'm kind of focusing on is not being on my phone when I commute, for example, right? So like when I go into
like social media, you mean, or just phone in general?
Phone in general. I don't care. I've kind of stopped listening to Spotify on the tram. I tend to keep it in my bag as opposed to put it in my pocket. This, without going on too much of a ramble about my personal life, what I'm trying to do is not stare at the phone first thing in the morning when I get up and go into work.
Nice, yeah.
But I want to do something that sets me off on the right foot, right? So if I got one of these, put one of these in, you know, you're just messing around, you're just twiddling, you're doing stuff. Yes, you're looking at a screen, but you're being a bit more creative. It's on the fly. You can save your presets and stuff. And then anything that you like, you can easily then just hook up and then track as if it was anything new. Now, for me, the separation of like the cockpit, this area that I've got here to do my wrangling, and then just having something different, again, changing workflow, changing something different. That's for me, that's what that gets. And I kind of like the overlay for that as well. It's a bit different. I don't really know much about East Coast or West Coast synthesis in terms of like how to program it inside.
If it bleeps and bloops, that's all you need, right? You don't need to know how it works.
Experiment. It's all the lack of knowledge is the fun part there. So,
yeah, and then you get to learn something new, right? I'm curious though, have you tried, you're talking about using the phone less and things like that. Have you tried, maybe you do it, but putting your phone on something like airplane mode or something so that when you wake up, you can't see any of your notifications and stuff like that?
I wonder where you got that idea from. Yeah.
I've been doing that for years. When I go to bed, before I go to bed, sorry, it's very dark in here. I always put it on airplane mode. And then, so when I wake up, I can't see it. Like you can't see any notifications. I even put it on a black and white color. And then I lower the brightness. So if I do have to look at the phone for something, it's, you know, like it's not going to blast me with light. But yeah, I read something that the black and white makes it less engaging. And so it's much like you're less likely to use it because it's so dull looking. And I find it true. And then like you, I've been trying that where when I wake up, instead of going to social media or YouTube or this or that, I like use Koala or something like that. Do something musical, you know, for the first like hour before you have to get inundated with social feeds and all that stuff.
Yeah, completely. I used to be a stickler for checking the work email as soon as I got out of bed, and I'm like, that's not good. That's
not starting your day on the right foot for sure. Even if it's great, you love your job and all that stuff. It's like you got to have some time in the morning to process. Like I wake up, I do something like music making or something, then I make coffee, then I tackle the day.
It always comes to the lowest priority, but yes, it's the way forward. So yeah, that's what I'm doing, and that's when I think I start looking at iOS synths in that regard, because that would be the way forward. I have Koala sampler on my phone. I haven't used it to the extent that you have. I have recently been taking inspiration from your live streams and just kind of getting the odd sound and just putting it in there and just mangling it a little bit. And
it's fun.
Yeah,
it's fun. Yeah, I really need to use Koala on a live stream soon. It's just the setup's annoying with like having that dongle that goes from Lightning to audio, and then such a nightmare.
It is. It's such a hard life, isn't it?
Yeah. We got a couple bits of the chat. Let's see. So we talked already about Maureen's friend Rule, but I want to give that back up for context about sell something to get something, because I think I already covered it, but in case not, Survey Channel said it's a good call, Maureen's friends. It definitely is. David says, yeah, definitely bring in the new stuff slowly. It's also a good way to just learn what you already have, right? And then Maureen's friend said, on your note about the live shows, Curtis. He said, adding some live synths into the punk band, so need something smaller to operate behind the kit. So this may be a good one. Are you drumming, Maureen's friend? I think you're drumming, right? Especially saying kit. But I think from photos you sent in the Discord. But there's also that, I think Survey Channel has it, but that Roland sample trigger. You know, it's not the SP, but it's that little, you see a lot of drummers with it. It's like 6 pads. We covered it. Survey Channel, you can probably help me out. And then, there's that, but there's also, small synth. The S1, which we're going to talk about soon, is very tiny and very affordable, but so is the Microfreak. But yeah, something tiny would be cool like that, or even that little Korg, what is it, NTS1? You could just use the little stylus. That thing sounds great though. And Survey Channel says that sounds rad about adding a synth to the punk stuff. That would be cool. I'd love to hear what that sounds like. And there's a couple more I'm skipping real quick, but yeah, Survey Channel helped me out. He said the SPDX. I thought you had grabbed it, but he says I unfortunately don't have that yet. Sorry, I thought you had grabbed it, but yeah. And then Maureen's friend also added, speaking of East versus West Coast, he's watching a new Tupac doc that's pretty fascinating. What's the name of it? And then Bendu says, was that a subtle Ableton dig? What? I don't think I said anything consciously digging at Ableton. Maybe I did. I don't know. But maybe it was Curtis. He's turning coat. I don't know. Maybe all the gray. Oh, maybe because I said the gray. It's not interesting. I bet that's it. No, that's not what I meant. But I mean, maybe that's why I don't gel with Ableton. And Survey Channel says, I got to dig into Koala more. Hot damn, I'm behind on that. I mean, you're not behind. It's an awesome app that I think will always be interesting and just fun to use. And like, when I'm watching TV or something, or don't want to do social media or whatever, I just go to Koala, you know. And you can add in, with iCloud, you could have some one-shots of your own even. You don't have to sample in Koala. You could have one-shots and you can use the chromatic mode, make synths and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a ton of cool stuff you could do with it. And David says that he used to play with an SPD. What did you think of it, David? They look awesome. I remember seeing them before I knew anything about electronic music. There were bands playing them, and I loved that. And yeah, Bendu said the gray. Yeah, that's what I thought. It was not consciously a dig, but like I said, maybe that's why I didn't gel with it. And
maybe that's just you in general. Maybe now it's just got to the stage where just
everything could be construed as a dig at Ableton. I've used Ableton. It's fine. It just doesn't work for me. That's all. No hate.
He says with a smile, but we can see in the eyes.
There's a burning conviction of just pure hatred behind the eyes, right? No. It's very cool. I'd love to use it more, or even set up like the SP as a controller to trigger the live. I forget what it's called, but that live workflow, like what you do with your was the launch kit or whatever.
Yeah, that's the way forward. I'm excited. Going back to live, the idea that Survey Channel's got a launch control XL in there. I'm very curious to see what he's going to do that. I sadly can't fly across the Buffalo to see it, but
neither can I, even from California. But hopefully you can record it, Survey Channel, at least give us a bit of a live teaser, you know, something like that. It'd be great. David says that he loves the, what is it, SPD? I can't remember the name. That's Roland for you though with those names. But he says loves it along with an acoustic kit. Yeah, and then Survey Channel says can't wait to see Bendu live though. Just putting that out there. I mean, yeah, that would be awesome. I know he's playing. Is Bendu playing in New York, or is it somewhere else? Bendu can probably elaborate on that for us.
Is he playing the Where Foxma in New York?
Bendu's here. Maybe he can tell us. And Pat says he wants to join that hate club for Ableton. Yeah, there's people that just don't enjoy it. I mean, you know, not everything works for everyone. So yeah, but a lot of people love it. And Survey Channel says, "You bet he is about Bendu." Yeah, nice. And yeah, there's the man himself saying it. So yeah.
Heard it there. I'd like to see, I mean, I'm not for tribalism on the internet. I think there's enough of that, but I'd like to see what would happen with if we had the people who are watching, those who are for Ableton and those who are against Ableton. There is no in the middle. There is only, obviously.
Use what you enjoy. That's what I say. Exactly. And just for clarity, Bendu says I'll be at Where Foxma, New York City, October 21st. Nice.
Oh, that's going to be awesome. That's going to be really awesome. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's move across to our last piece of news for the week. This is the one that most people are talking about. It's the one that got us very excited.
We just need an overlay. There we go. Yeah, I was
There
going
we
to
go.
say, we can't do it without an overlay.
This is, a cheeky tweak, as we named it.
You named it. Seems very British in your naming conventions.
It's
but,
that
you know,
E sound, the cheeky, the tweak.
cheeky,
And
yeah.
it's that alliteration. I'm really on that.
Mine would probably be like, dude, a tweak synth.
That's
Bro. Yeah.
Hang 10, you know.
That's how you know who's writing it, right?
For clarity, Sam Walker and I had our weekly meeting on Monday, and we just spent a good 45 minutes just coming up with alliteration. And when we get to the marketing minute, there's a whole load of terminology that we're having fun with. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. But yeah, before all that, we have got the new S1 from Roland, which looks like a lovely little polysynth in its own right.
Yeah, I'm not sold on the green.
Oh, I love the green.
I figured you would, considering that cassette, the cassette thing we talked about last week, where you love the orange and I like the more toned down blue. But yeah, so this is inspired by the SH101, which let me see if it's in camera. I have the Behringer version of the SH101, and I love SH101s. And let me get back over here. There's the real SH101 behind it. So it's inspired by it, and it uses Roland's ACB, analog circuit behavior, to mimic what they call, and it is, the classic analog SH101 synth. 4-voice polyphony, though, instead of a monophonic synth. 64-step sequencer, delay, reverb, and chorus. And this was kind of estimated 3-hour battery life.
Okay, it's not too bad. It's not great, but it's not bad.
Yeah. I mean, it's not too bad. I would think with how compact it is and squeezed in, but there's lights and things like that. But yeah, 3 hours. You can still get a lot done in those 3 hours, though. But the one kind of con from watching some demos of it and things like that, I mean, it's called a tweak synth, but a lot of the controls are behind. You have to hit shift and then press certain things. There's a lot of, because it's so compact, and I guess that's the trade-off of having it be compact, but there's a lot of, lots of button prompts. And I say that as an SP404 user with you have to hold shift, mute, remain, shift, remain, and this to get just to a mute thing or something. So who am I to talk? But it sounds great. I don't know. Did I put a sound demo in there, or is there one in the
I don't think there's one in the docket. Let me just double check. There is not one in the docket. No, there is a dude.
There might be a bit in that. Just hit that. Let's hear it real quick. Oh, it's muted.
Hi, Dustin from Roland, here to show you the Ira Compact S1
there we
tweak.
go.
Let's get familiar with the sounds of the S1 by choosing a few patterns to play.
Yeah, so that's using the sequencer. That's cool.
Yeah. Oh, my voice goes immediately to my ears immediately go to Maureen's friend immediately.
Yeah, I mean that demo doesn't. I don't think that demo shows the true SH101 sounds that it's capable of, and that thing is capable of making those classic 101 sounds and things like that. But I love that it has the polyphony. I think there was the SH01A, which was that when Roland did their first bit of smaller synths, to go against the Volcas or compete against the Volcas. They weren't that tiny. These new ones are even smaller, but they had an SH01A, and that was a 101 emulation with that ACB, a little bigger. But yeah, it had 4-voice polyphony instead of the monophonic. And so this one also has that. I mean, I just love the fact that it's so tiny. You could take it with you. You could use it with some small sequencer or pair it with Koala. I mean, that thing would fit in a little backpack and have your phone, iPad, or anything. I mean, there's tons of stuff you could do, or have a circuit and you could send MIDI to it, and that's all you need,
Yeah, completely. The sky's the limit. I mean, that's again, it's a little bit quirky. It's a little bit different. It feels limited. Now, I know in the sense that limitations, we always say about limitations being a good thing in this regard, because, for example, you might be, hitting shift and changing things around, and there are certain limit, 3-hour battery life, for example, you've got to create quick on the fly, that kind of thing,
Or charge it while creating.
Or charge it while creating. Yeah. One of the two, you know. But for only $200, it's pretty solid. Pretty solid. And if I had $200, I think that should be something I go for. Another little tabletop. I've got the Behringer crate over there, which is a completely different ball game.
I never see you use that. I feel like
I'm still like, it's one of those where I'm informally like dipping into it when I've got the time, and I don't really have.
It hasn't made an appearance in your live streams yet, though.
Not yet. If people are interested, maybe I'll take it a bit more seriously. But it's there. I just need to kind of be a bit more. Get past my imposter syndrome, maybe. Maybe that's what I need to do.
Just throw it in, man. Just do it.
Maybe that's our maybe that's our saying for the week. Just do it. Oh no, wait.
No. We're deleting that from the. No.
Just subtly reinvent marketing. But yeah,
tangible tweaks. Let's say.
Exactly. So yeah, that is the news for the week. If we'll leave that there for now before we get inundated with lawsuits from Nike.
Just don't.
Just don't do it. Just underline it.
Just don't it.
That's our gear news for the week. Thank you ever so much for bearing with us with that one. If there's anything we've missed, if you've got a particular one from Superbooth, if there's any gear that you are fancying and think is kind of new or different or just makes you want to be creative, let us know. Hit us up and put it in the Discord. We love hearing from you in the Discord. It's a growing little community, and it's lovely to see people throw their stuff in there.
Yeah, definitely.
Very much so. Anything else before we move on to the marketing?
No, there's no breaking news that I saw, but I was trying to research all the stuff we were talking about. So yeah, but chat, let us know if there's anything we missed that you want us to cover for a future episode.
Yeah, we'll just have to save the breaking news overlay for another one.
I mean, we could make some. I could look on Synthopia or something right now if you really want to use that breaking news overlay.
It's okay. I think I'll live.
Or breaking news. Curtis is drinking tea.
I am drinking tea. I will always be drinking tea. So yeah, marketing minute's quite fun.
It's breaking news. You're drinking tea. That's not the overlay. I didn't spoil it. I didn't want to spoil all your hard work.
No, I mean hard work is a bit of a stretch on this one, but yes.
Don't let your imposter syndrome win.
So yeah, for the marketing this week, we kind of depending on time as well, it's kind of fused a bit with the round robin as well. If any
of the patrons want to join for the round robin, which will most likely be this marketing minute, the StreamYard link is in the description in the Twitter group.
Yeah.
Patron Twitter group if you'd like to join. But what are we talking about? Just real quick, David said that the UE Zebra 3 is supposed to be awesome. Yeah, I've not used any of those. I do use Diva and Repro, and I love them. But yeah, that looks pretty cool. Or should be pretty cool.
Get that triple cheese.
I got it. It's awesome. I'm using it in this new thing. The thing I was doing guitar, it's a drone. I couldn't find that moon one you mentioned, the patch. Maybe that's one you made or something, but I found something that was cool. And I just added duper passive at 100% and it became an instant drone. I don't want to say it. I don't know. Ian Lake's not here. He can't give me that look of like he knows what I'm talking about, but he's a guy. He shouldn't have said it. But yeah.
I got you. That tickled me because I just didn't see that one coming.
You didn't see me using super massive to make a drone, really? Do you know me at all?
the way you said it.
Super passive, yeah.
Super passive, yeah. All right, okay. Moving along swiftly. More alliteration, more excitement.
Yeah, you were really excited about this.
Yeah, this is
the alliteration.
Look at that. If you're on screen right now, sadly, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, you won't see it. Perhaps you might see it if you're on Spotify. But yeah, this is the marketing minute, and this week we're looking at our tangible top tips. We always do a bit of marketing. We always come up with something, but these are the idea here, I believe, if I'm not much mistaken, somewhere, is the notion that these are practices that you can put into place now. There's something that you could change and you could tweak relatively quickly.
It's basically maximizing, or what we like to call lemonizing, your work or your time in the studio, anything like that. David, we see you in the green room back there. We'll get you in 1 second. We just need to finish explaining this. But yeah, so basically making the most of your time so that we've talked about this before to a degree, but making the most of your time so that you don't have to do things multiple times. Like if you're recording a synth part, you can film that, and then there's your piece of content to promote the new track release when it comes out or something like that.
Yeah, completely. And we're going to get into that. Should we bring ACF Stripe in?
Yeah,
beforehand?
let's do it. Let me add him
bring
in. What's going on?
Hey.
Hang on. We need to get rid of the overlay.
Yeah, just the overlay's got to go so we can show you. How are you? What's going on, man?
Good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you loud and clear.
You got my cat too, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But at least she's staying quiet for now, so that's a good thing.
More than Steve does. Yeah.
Jump in. Just once again, everyone, please go get the Roland S1.
Yeah, I mean, if budget
Not
permits,
limited.
let's put it that way.
Absolutely wrong, but no, it's cool. It's cool. Anyways, yeah, it's I'll just say on that too. You can edit waveforms and things on it, so it is beyond an SH101.
Oh yeah, it has that SH101 legacy of sound, but yeah, there's a ton you can do with it. It's very cool. Yeah, thank you for clarifying that.
And the there's some cool features on the sequencer. I think it's the sequencer, not the ARP. So there's some tweaks on it that I think they're finally hitting the right price point for some of those. As everyone,
200
more in the Volca territory. They were just too boutique for everybody for a while. That $500, 400, 500 is just that's no. Unless you're a collector.
Did you buy it?
I technically have vowed not to buy anything till June 1st of this year. So every day, it's like, what are we on now? The 17th. But I'm pretty sure I'm going to get it just because it's one of the very few things I think I could just integrate really quickly. And I'm pretty certain I'll make some music with it pretty fast. And it's a good price point, right? It's not the Steam.
$200. That's crazy. For all that it can do, and it's for voice, I mean, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I know people get a little bit caught up with feeling like they might sound derivative or something, but I think that's really something to not overanalyze in our music. You know what I mean? Because you got multiple layers and things going on, and classic sounds are classic sounds for a reason, and they're familiar to people and they're very pleasing. They connect with them immediately. Then you fuse in some modern stuff and like things like the Mellotron, right? You could throw a Mellotron in anything. And
well, that's the beauty of it, though. If you have companies that are pushing boundaries, like we talked about with the what was it, Steam Pipe and that prototype from Korg, there is a space, as the Behringer shows with all of these knockoff clones, things like that. There's a space for these classic sounds, and it's good to have all of it, because if you want those classic sounds, they're there. And I love the fact that this is $200. If you really want that 101 sound and expand on it, it's there for you. And then if you want something new, that's around too. But let's get to the marketing minute, because that's where we were at. But Curtis, do you want to start with number one? We have three.
We have three. The idea is being proactive and preemptive. Again, alliteration. Be proactive and preemptive with note-taking. Write down any ideas that come to mind throughout the day. It's fairly simple, fairly basic, but it's one that really gets in. So a notepad, either physical or on just the bog standard phone that you have. As soon as you get an idea, as soon as you get anything that comes through that could be of value to your journey, to your musical promotion, so to speak, write it down.
Yeah, definitely. And real quick, Maureen's friend says he's got to jump on a meeting, but great stuff. We appreciate it, Maureen's friend. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next time. So basically I have a Google Doc on my phone where when I'm thinking of YouTube videos, if I just think of like, oh, what if I, do this, I write it down, and then I start expanding on it, and I make a thumbnail idea whenever that pops into mind, and then I make a title idea whenever that pops into mind. Or if I'm making music, if I'm thinking, oh, I could really add this guitar part to a song, I just put that in the notepad or something. Like, when I work on this track again, do X, What about you, Curtis? Anything you do specifically in this nature?
I do voice notes. Hence,
of course you do. Everything's voice with you.
Being the ADHD kid that I am, I haven't got time to type, and I've got a crappy Chinese phone, and so the keyboard doesn't work. But what does work is voice notes, and I'll send voice notes to myself, either through WhatsApp or through Telegram or something along those lines, and then I'll pick them up, and usually I'll go, "One idiot, what a stupid idea that was," but nonetheless, that'll keep something kind of going, and it will lead me to a greater idea, so to speak.
Yeah, David, do you do any of this?
I don't do a lot of it as much as I'd like to. I think I compartmentalize my processes. You know, if I'm in pure creative mode, it's kind of messy, maybe how it's happened. But I would say that I collect a lot of ideas constantly, you know, so a lot of times I'm taking photography or I'm, you know, it kind of, I would say during the music stage, no, but I would say during the video stage, there's been a lot of things that I've been working on. So I think being a little more intentional like that sounds appealing to me, actually.
Yeah, well, that's great. That's good. Yeah, it definitely, I found it really helps because I do a lot of different things and I find that that makes a big difference. But let's go to the second tip, and that is make the most of your creative time. So I kind of talked about this at the start, but if you're recording or tracking, set up a camera. And even if you get 10 seconds, 15 seconds of you noodling around or something, or you keep that take, you can use that when you're promoting the track. And so it's one less thing to worry about when it comes to promotion time. You don't have to stress about, oh, I need to make a performance video or this or that. You've got that. And you could then even have a bit where you show that performance, and then you could just do a voiceover or something and be like, here's the settings, or show the effects that you used and be like, this is the effects chain that I had. It's just making the most of that time so that you don't have to worry about all that social media stuff so much at the end of it. And nice, Curtis has got those banners running on the bottom. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. Slowly but surely, we're learning more about this StreamYard Pro, which was gifted to us so lovingly by our patrons.
Yes, thank you so much. But what's your take on that tip too, Curtis?
Well, yeah, this is one that for me took a lot longer than I thought than it probably should. I only really started utilizing this a couple of months ago, but it's probably
it finally broke you down talking about it so much, huh?
Yeah, to be fair, yeah. I think it's one of those because again, like now everything is in a semi-permanent setup. It's fine, it's done. It's about getting that permanent setup for me, at least. One of the downsides of having a portable rig is that you have to set everything up, but it is one of the biggest things because, like you say, you sit and I'll do a jam session for 2 hours, say. So I've got that 2 hour. And I've just got anything that is there, anything that I take from it, because I don't know what I'm going to take from it myself, let alone what other people might take from it until I actually go and do it. But then you can always go back and do it. And I suppose again, it's about discipline and consistency. It's a bit like my yoga in the sense that I've always started doing yoga, done a bit of yoga, and then after a couple of weeks gone, I miss yoga because I'll go to the pub or something, and then come out the other way.
It's pub yoga. It counts.
It's pub yoga. It's fine. You have to stretch when you lift up the pint. So
yeah, you're working your arms, bicep curls.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What about you, David? Where you're at with this one? I mean, you've got a very interesting setup and workflow going on behind you.
Yeah, I'd say that I would say on the music side, I've done a really great job of being able to record anything I do at any moment. And I think on the video side is the one side where I think I need to, because I have some tripods and stuff, but I tend to bring them in when I get an idea. But I think I need to have a little system set up, even if that also means an older iPhone or something, and just keep it somewhere, a couple good angles. I think that's one thing I'm missing right now is having the video side ready. I think the audio side is very efficient. So that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. I mean, just like I was just noodling on the circuit and some synths, and I loved the end result. So I just filmed like a 2-minute jam and cut up 20 seconds and posted it on, of all things, TikTok. And it just blew up to like 2,000 views with a ton of comments from just jamming, right? Like I don't even know if I put text. I think I just put like ambient or, something stupid. And like, yeah, maybe that's not a viral video, but for doing no extra effort, I was able to just put it up and get some exposure, right? So it's that type of thing, is just having that camera. You don't even have to think about it, and you just even turn it on once you're done with the jam and just hit play and run the sequence or something, you know, or perform on top of it. It's just something quick like that. So we've got one more tip. I think Curtis wants to read this one because he was geared up about the name we came up with. So shall you?
So. Yeah, so we have making the most of your creative time, and then finally we're going with you lemonize your creative time. Well, it just quite simply just the word of lemonizing. If you think you get a lemon, and if you want to get and you want to get all the juice out of it, you want to crush that down. You want to crush it for everything that you've got, which is slightly different to making the most of your creative time, because this is the other end of it, the post-production side. Say you've got a 2-hour jam. You've got a 2-hour jam. You've recorded that. It's just fly on the wall. Like I do a lot of fly on the wall stuff, and it's just there, right? And then this comes into a bit of batch streaming. You film it, then you cut that up into a load of shorts, for example. So you've got your social media content. You might cut it up into a 10-minute clip, take a best bit and make a clip from that. Or, you know, if you say it's 2 hours, cut it down to an hour, like best chops, that kind of thing. Some Whooper does instructional videos where he'll take a whole thing and then chop it up into the different stages to illustrate what he's narrating in the creation side of things. If that's what you're going for, like really taking everything, bulking that content and crushing it down and squeezing it for everything that it's got. So then you've done it all in one, and then you don't have to look at it and you don't have to do it again for the rest of time.
Well, you do have to do it when you do it again. But yeah, so the way that I do it, and it's a little different from Curtis, but so I have a couple different formats. Like I do live streams where I have subscribers vote on genre type and things like that, and then I make a track. But what I'll do from that is I use whole narrative segments of that. So let's say last one, I was recording guitar only into the SP and I needed to make bass. So I sampled single sounds into the SP from the guitar, a guitar, not a bass, and then I repitched it down an octave to make the bass. And so that's a whole narrative segment, as I like to consider it. And I just chopped that maybe a minute, you know, because you have to meet YouTube Shorts and Instagram and stuff. And that was a short and a reel. I just added captions and that was it. So you can take specific segments or even multiple segments and combine them with editing and things like that to tell a story in a 1 minute, 1.5 minute segment. And then another thing that I'll do, Curtis likes to make clips from the video and like the best bit and use that for a long form content on YouTube. What I like to do though is try to incorporate that into a separate video. So like if I'm making a talking head video or something where I'm going through 3 ways to use the SP, I can chop up those segments so that I don't have to film another segment for that topic. Like if number 1 is recording bass, right? I have that video that I can put into the video, but it's still new because there's a whole other context to it. It's just there. So yeah, and also real quick before we get to David, Frequency Control Center, one of our label mates, is in the chat. He says, "Hey guys, so late tonight. That's all right. We're happy to have you. How was fishing last week?" And he says, "We have a new face." Yes, David, one of our patrons, fellow patrons, is in the call. FCC, you're welcome to join in too if you'd like. It's the Marketing Minute round robin. We let all of our patrons hop on in. But let us know how you're doing. And yeah, David, what's your take on that? Have you tried doing this sort of thing?
Well, anything that I would lemonize sounds wonderful. Okay. I'm all in favor of lemonizing. Yeah, I'm trying to think of it in a little different, you know, because I don't do a lot of maybe specific content for other people to learn from, but I would say that I know it's the thing.
No, it's okay.
It's
he's like, you need to start. That's what they're saying.
But I will say to in the post album kind of promotion stage that there's definitely something to take those little reels, take some of the stuff you've done, take little snippets of the audio. I think I took the album cover and then I just overlaid some moving images behind it, made a 20-second reel, and that was really effective. And to the point where, you know, I just kind of threw one of the songs that I thought was less important, and, you know, and I started getting comments like, wow, you know, that was, you know, it drew him to the song, which was really, it was a throwaway moment, but it was the, so there was within that I think I liked that process, and I think what I realized was that I could take the album cover, I could take the music, everything was done. All I had to do was just tweak it real quick, and it was very
exactly recycling content. It's a good way to go.
Yeah, and you can do it just subtly, in a way that it feels very fresh.
Yeah.
Seeing, and we know the last thing I'll say, we know that we think we're being like kind of redundant, but a lot of times you hit new people.
Exactly.
Just not, and that's the biggest kind of negative self-talk sometimes we do when we're on the marketing side. We just make really poor assumptions on overexposure. So I'll leave it at that.
There's always new eyes seeing something for the first time. So there's always a way to recontextualize something you've already done, or just completely reuse it. But I prefer to recontextualize it, like I was saying, to put into another video as one segment or something like that. There's always new eyes. And so you can always try to reach new people, even with the same content, just tweak differently. Exactly like you're saying, David. That's a great way to look at it for sure.
Pretty much so. I like this idea, like you say, there's always something in the name of imposter syndrome. We're always almost overcritical of ourselves. Like, okay, I'm oversharing this. I've talked too much about this, and yeah, it's that's again in the same way that when we make a song or we make an album, that it becomes something different to someone else who listens. Same goes with our marketing, and so that kind of hurdle of getting over what is too much, so to speak, is obviously it's a journey, but you just got to keep plugging that.
Yeah, definitely. Any final thoughts, David, on this, or anything you want to add, a tip that we didn't cover?
I think the most important thing is to understand the marketing is critical. And as much as you consider yourself an artist or a musician, and that is for you where you draw your self-worth, you absolutely have to take the marketing seriously and embrace it, and understand that is you kind of nurturing your art, right? So the marketing is nurturing your art, right, and getting it out there, and you will start to, I believe, look at it a little differently, and I kind of stole that from someone years ago that I read. They said that concept, and it just kind of blew my mind. So yeah, that's my last thought on that.
Oh, I just want to say, Curtis, can you throw that in as a banner that we can run past? Marketing is nurturing your art. Yeah, that is a great context to look at marketing, because I know it can be hard to think about sharing your music and judgment and this and that. But yeah, it doesn't have to be this thing of just sharing. You can have a story to it, or you can just share it as like, I'm just doing synth jams. I love it. Like, there's always a way to recontextualize it and just put it out. You don't have to think of some big story or something if you don't want to. And eyes will most likely find it. New eyes will most likely find it. If people start sharing it, if that's your goal, is to get heard and things like that, you kind of have to work on that marketing, because you want to, like you said, nurture it and make it grow and help it to grow. So that's great. That's a really good one. And that's a fourth tangible tip, courtesy of our patron, David. Yeah, we love it. That's great.
That's great. So yeah, that leads us towards the end of this week's show. Thank you ever so much for joining us. Before we do go, Sunwhopper, what you got unplanned for this week?
Oh, what do I have planned? I've got a video coming out tomorrow that is all about using Koala and the SP only, so samplers for live performance. I put up a live set last week and got a lot of questions about how I was doing it. I kind of made a 2 DJ channel setup using the routing from the SP and sending Koala into it and having all that. And then I didn't do mastering. I mastered it with the SP, just using compressor and cassette sim. So it was a lot of fun to make both the live set and the explainer. And then today I'm filming I'm going to create some generative sounds on the circuit and sample it into the SP and make some one-shots that I'm most likely sending to someone in this video for something in the future. Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'll be sending Curtis these sounds, and most likely I'll put them up as a sample pack too, as well, on my Sounds by Sunwhopper, which I just revamped. So that was fun. But yeah, what about you, Curtis? What are you up to this week?
Well, after this, I will be going live. We're going to be having a look at some kind of housey 4 on the floor. I never do 4 on the floor, and so
Ooh.
we got some 4 on the floor coming tonight or today for later anyway. And then I'm going to be doing more, like I say, all these tracks and these tunes that I've been kind of making on these live streams. It's time to go back into them and start playing around sound design and making them a bit more of a song as opposed to loops which layer over and make bigger. So that's time. It's going back into the producer mode, so to speak.
Putting that producer hat on, taking off the 4 on the floor house live streamer hat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. David, what about you? What do you got going on this week?
I was gonna say, I remember Curtis doing he was doing one of his jams, and I was like, I think there's a song there. It's like, it's like keep that, remember that part.
Yeah, don't forget it.
I've got it. That's where I'll be going back to.
I'm not overstepping, but I'm getting excited. But
Not at all.
I'm actually working on I think Drone Day is next, the following Saturday. You may have heard of this thing every year now. There's this thing called Drone Day, and it's become, I think it started in Canada, but it's kind of a worldwide thing now. And I'm doing it through one of my local groups, the Rocky Mountain Synth group. And luckily I got my drone done. So I'm working on the video. I just got Luma Fusion for iPad, which is like a expanded iMovie, just with better features. So yeah, I'm just learning that and hoping that process is going to also help me with my video, expanding my video.
Yeah, definitely. That does bring to mind a quick breaking news that I had. I forgot that I did want to say this. Final Cut Pro and Logic are now on iPad.
There you go.
But they're only, I believe, with a subscription
They
service.
are.
Like you have to pay monthly for them. And I know Final Cut Pro is only with, I think, M1 or M2 iPads, and then the Logic can be used with one of the earlier chips that's not M1 and M2. But yeah, we were able to get that breaking news in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
anybody's gotten it or is using it, I'd be curious to hear how you like using it on the iPad. I've been wanting them to put Logic Pro on iPad for so long, and then they do it with subscription, and I'm like, well, not for me then.
Yeah. Hopefully they change that, but yeah, do not underestimate the power of an iPad for music.
Yeah, definitely. I was hoping at least they do something. If you already own Apple Logic or Final Cut,
me too.
It's like, oh, you can get some sort of, even if it's like a reduced subscription fee or something, that would be cool. But that's not in the cards. But yeah, that's our show. Chat, before we go, what are you guys up to this week? Let us know before we're off. Frequency Control Center says, can't believe I missed it all. Might dive into Discord for a bit. Yeah, hop on over. We will be there, at least in chat. We do, of course, go live after our meetings on Monday for a couple minutes. So, David, you've been in them before, but if you ever want to hang out with us for a couple minutes, just talking about whatever, it's open for everybody on the Discord. The Discord is in the description, and if you're listening on Apple and Spotify or any other podcast, it's in the show notes. But yeah, Survey Channel says, great show, fellas. He also said hello to FCC for popping in. And then Bendu says, good show, folks. We appreciate it. Thanks so much. Curtis, anything you want to add before we go?
No, just if you are living proof, I mean, if you're making music on an iPad, Void Noir, I think I've mentioned him before, kid from, he's definitely on the West Coast, but I think he's north of you, some author. He makes everything in GarageBand, and it's insane. And so you can do all this stuff. Also, yeah, the notion of we can have Final Cut Pro and Logic on an iPad, yes, with all these different caveats, which means a lot of people can't. I find that interesting. But I love the fact we got breaking news. That really makes sense.
At least we were able to use this. And I'd love if I could do like that. Sorry if anybody got like eye strain from that, but we could do it. I saw when Curtis made that overlay, and when he came on the show, I was like in the green room before we went live. I said, Curtis, that's a little big. He's like, no, it's got to be. It's like that 90s breaking news.
Yeah.
We just need like a little cue that's like, da, 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 da. Something like that we can just play. But yeah, and Frequency Control Center, ooh, this is nice. He says he's trying to finish the new EP this week. If you haven't checked out his album on Audionautic Records, I would definitely recommend giving it a listen, especially if you're into that Boards of Canada style. But speaking of that, he did say, because Bendu had asked him about a Boards of Funkadelica, he's not doing that for the EP, but he'll get there. He'll get there. I'll tell you what, we'll do a split collab Boards of Funkadelica, and Death Warper.
There you go.
Yeah. Right.
It'll have no sonic
Remember that.
parody, but it'll be some doom death metal and then Boards of Funkadelica. You know, we'll do it. Bendu says it'll be worth the wait for the Boards of Funkadelica. And Svrjcek says, heck, might have to eagle eye the Discord next Monday. Yeah, hop on in. So it's at usually about 10:40 Pacific. So 3 hours later for you, Survey Channel, and I'm totally blanking on the UTC. What is it? 6:40 UTC? 6:40, right?
7:40.
7:40. Oh, so close.
So he's an hour
So
before.
close.
So he's an hour before.
I was so close.
7:40 UTC for usually US. That is it's a bit more ad hoc. It's when Sunwalker and I have finished our meets, but usually around that time. Between that half past and
Yeah, you'll see it. I forget what the channel's called. Curtis, maybe you can
voice chat.
Voice chat. Yeah, there it is. So you'll see if we're in there, you'll know it'll say like Curtis Sunwarper in the voice chat. You can just hop on in there. And I believe there's even a text chat in there if you don't want to hop on.
Let me rephrase. Yeah, voice hangout.
Voice hangout.
No. Sorry,
Oh.
I am wrong. Sorry,
Jeez.
because I have the admin. I have all the channels that
you're messing up left and right here, Curtis. Get it together, man.
It's like time zones, man. They're weird. Comms link codec.
Is that the one we go on? I thought it was the voice hangout. I think Comms was a remnant of a previous.
Is it? Okay.
Well, whatever it is,
Voice
you'll
hangout,
see when
yeah.
you see the two names, Sunwarper and Curtis, and it's showing them in the whatever the thing is called. You'll see it. That's the one you can hop in. And like I said, there's a text if you want to. And Survey Channel says, hey, it's perfect timing for him. Yeah, that's great. Perfect. So we'll see you over there. And if you're looking for some new music or just chill independent music, head to the Spotify link in the description or in the show notes for the Audionautic Radio playlist. Latest in independent music. That is available on Spotify. That's the one caveat. I'd add a lot more if it was on Spotify, but I know some people don't want to put it on there. And yeah, so it's in the description if you want to check out some new music, updated every Monday. Yeah. David, any final thoughts?
No, I'm good.
Any thoughts from your cat?
Quickly. Yeah. No, it's good. No, good show. No, I enjoyed it. You know, hopefully I'll have the S1 in a couple weeks. And
there you go. Yeah, we can do a sound comparison between the MS1 and the S1.
There you go. I like
there you
that.
go. Yeah, I don't have the polyphony, but I've got the analogy. Yeah, yeah. So you got a
sound battle.
Yeah, we'll have a sound battle. Yeah, we'll do some sequences and arpeggios and see what I love the sound of that thing. I would love the S1. So yeah, one day. But yeah, Survey Channel says the Comlink codec is classic. Yeah, I think that's
there you go. So it is.
I think that's an old remnant of a previous when we were starting the Discord. But yeah, the voice hangout's there for everyone to hop in. But yeah, I think that's it. If you got some value out of this episode, leave a like on the YouTube video. It helps a ton. We're always trying to reach new eyes and ears. And if you want to help even more, you can share the podcast, anything like that, share the video. It all helps. And of course, just hanging out is more than enough, as we always say. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Take care.
Ciao.